Welcome, everybody, to Spirituality Adventures. This is a non-judgmental place to explore spirituality, and we're so glad you're here. This is a viewer and listener-supported podcast, so we greatly appreciate your support. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, share, and subscribe to any of the social media content platforms that you're using. And then if you go to our website, spiritualityadventures.com, you can make a one-time donation, or with a monthly subscription, you'll gain access to our bonus content. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome, everybody, to Spirituality Adventures. We are so excited to have Nicolette Paige with us today.
Ashe.
Nicolette, thanks for joining us on Spirituality Adventures.
Thank you for having me.
And I love your outfit. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. My dress is
so
from
beautiful.
Nigeria.
I looked through your Instagram page, before you got here, and they're just like, this hat is in a couple of pictures, and
yes.
I love this hat.
Thank you.
It's very cool.
My boyfriend got it for me.
Nice. So let's I'm pretty sure most of our audience won't know you at all, but I have interviewed King Kie, Darrison Pelea.
Yes.
And a lot of our audience knows Darrison. And then I interviewed Alex Sordiano, which is Smart Alec.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing.
You've worked with him some.
Yes.
We've done Mellow Miles. So some of those names, some of the folks may know, right? Mm-hmm. So let's introduce yourself to people. Where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I grew up in a little town called Ottawa, Kansas, for just a little tiny time. Well, it was more like I was in 6th grade whenever we moved to Kansas City. So it was a mixture between Ottawa and Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I'm from. I was actually born in Joplin, Missouri, but I come from a very sacred place that's not from here.
Yeah?
Yeah, truly.
Not from this world?
Not from this world at all.
Yeah. Well, we can get into that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where did you graduate from high school?
It was called Piper High School.
In Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Piper, Kansas. Yeah, sure. So
I did not like it.
No?
No.
Why is that?
At the time, it wasn't very diverse, but I think it's evolved, and now it is. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't a good experience for me.
Did you feel like there was discrimination, racism,
yes.
those kinds of things
going
down? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was your family? Was your family a harbor, a safe place during that time?
Yes. My family, we've gone through a lot of challenges, but their heart was a place for me that I could be safe. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. What was your faith background with your family?
Growing up, as a child, I was often taken to the Presbyterian church. But quickly in about 5th grade is whenever I started diving into like astrology and numerology, and that evolved more into me practicing witchcraft, which then evolved into me going more into like brujeria or voodoo. Mm-hmm. And I really stuck with the more mysticism type spirituality for a very, very long time in private.
Mm-hmm. You didn't talk about it?
No. Because the people around me at the time, my parents nourished my gifts the best that they could and my beliefs. But then at the same time, as they were evolving, it was also a bit concerning to them as well, because they were concerned that I might lose my soul or be misdirected, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, like, if your parents are bringing you up in a church, a Presbyterian church,
yes,
Presbyterians are known for their doctrinal stances, like their stances on theology, and they have these long statements of faith and all that kind of stuff. So I can imagine, like, if you started very young, veering into this world of mysticism, then I could see where some parents could be alarmed.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, what's going on? Right?
Yes. Well, also, the Bible, depending on how you interpret it, teaches too that those who are contacted by spirits must be careful, because those spirits can most likely be demons that can shapeshift and fool you into thinking, for example, that my ancestors are my ancestors whenever they're really demons, And so you have to be very careful psychologically. I know there are some people that dive into the world of mysticism who may not be psychologically strong, and they can lose themselves.
Yeah.
And then there are some people that don't know how to protect themselves spiritually, or maybe don't even understand the spirit realm and who they are on a deeper level, or a deep enough level to walk in a light that is strong.
Yeah.
For me, I've always been strong. So when I hear my ancestors, I know those are my ancestors. But when I see entities that are I guess what some people would call evil, I know who they are too.
So you feel like that there is a dark side that you could slip into if you're if there's not a strong psychological foundation. Yeah, you have to be very careful, and you have to be very self-aware. You have to be strong in that. There's duality to everything. Yeah. So even in the spirit realm, there are entities that can help you, and then there's entities that can harm you. Mm-hmm. I work with both. It's interesting because like I grew up Christian, and I was a pastor, in a Christian church, and it's interesting if you study the history of Christianity. Yes. It's full of people who did the opposite of like what Jesus taught. Mm-hmm. Like love your neighbor, love yourself, love God, love your enemy. Mm-hmm. You think about some of those very enlightened teachings of Jesus. Mm-hmm. But then if you look at the history of Christianity, Christians have killed Christians, Christians have killed Muslims, Christians have killed, it's just been a crazy mixture of things, right? And so you've got some people like a Mother Teresa who've like just done amazing things as Jesus followers, and then you've got other people who have done things that are just, so I think everything has a light and a dark side. Yeah. Yeah. There's extremes to everything. Yeah. There's duality to it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's fascinating to me that in the age of like 5th, 6th, 7th grade, yes, you literally were totally already into spirituality. Yes. When you were seeking already. Yes, I was. Spiritual path. Since I can remember, I've been able to like see and hear and feel spirits. And I've always been very, very sensitive to energies, very, very in tune. But it wasn't until about 5th grade that I did start seeking knowledge in books. I could start talking more about maybe the things that I was feeling and seeing. Mm-hmm. So you're a reader. What do you mean? Like, do you read book? You started reading, studying. Yes. like I'm a book. I'm into bikes and books. I say, those are two of my intense hobbies. Oh, nice. I read a lot, and I'm a bicyclist. Like I pedal. Yes. So that's what I mean by a read. So you like to read? I love to read. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. When I have time. Yeah. I have 4 children. Do you? Yes. What are their ages? You don't look old enough. Well, 2 of them are not my biological children, but I see them as my children anyway. I have a 15-year-old. Okay. I have a 13-year-old. I have an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old. Wow. Yes. 7 to 15. Yes. And the 2 youngest are your biological kids? Yes. Okay. boy or girl or both?
Elijah is 11, boy, and Sedona is a girl.
Ooh.
Yes.
So Sedona is literally, like, I go mountain biking there regularly.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
it is
places.
Such a beautiful place.
Have you been to Sedona?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Is that why is that?
I named her after a raven that I seen, whose name was Sedona.
Okay.
Yes. Sedona
cool.
Jade. Her middle name is Jade, after the sacred stone that you would find in Mexica, which is what most people know as Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I call it Mexica. That is the indigenous name of Mexico. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. I've been there a couple of times.
Oh, beautiful.
Not all that often, but Mexico City. I've done some touring outside, been to like Teotihuacan and some of those. I don't know if you're familiar with some of those.
Yes, anyway, I am.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you developed this interest in spirituality.
Yes.
Very young age, but then you also developed an interest in music.
Yes. At a very young age as well.
And so, by the way, I originally, when I wanted to interview you, it was all about the music.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. But then as I started, and some people are like, they spirituality adventures, and then they're musicians, and then they're not sure, well, what's he going to interview me about? And I usually interview musicians about their music. But as I started learning more about you, I realized that, gosh, your music and your spirituality flow from the same space, right?
Yes, they do. Yes.
So tell us about how did you get drawn to music, and how old were you when you first started? And was your family musical?
My dad plays the drums, and he actually is a good singer. And we were raised in a very diverse home when it comes to music. My dad exposed me to many different types of music, but music was always my therapy. My mother always made sure that I had notebooks to write in. They put me in vocal lessons at a very young age, guitar lessons. I started off actually with piano lessons.
Wow.
Yes. I was in drum lessons. They invested a lot in my music career, but they also seen what music did to me. It made me happy. It helped me to express myself. It was my therapy. It was how I became free.
So tell me, like, what were some of you said your dad introduced you to all kinds of music. What are some of the musical influences that you remember at a young age?
John Prine.
Okay.
John Prine is a wonderful singer-songwriter, folk artist who also is an incredible storyteller. And we grew up on his music, which influenced the way that I wrote songs. It was, who else? I remember him singing Counting Crows songs. Mm-hmm. That was just more of like a fun thing. Right. My dad actually sounds like the lead singer whenever he sings.
Really?
Yes, he does.
Remind me of that lead singer's name.
I don't know his name actually. I just have memories.
I actually have a friend who's in California who's very good friends with the Counting Crows folks and that lead singer, but I'm blanking on his name. I can remember my friend's name, but
Adam Duritz.
There we go. Adam, yeah. I'm pretty sure that Chris Lazat, Matt, is friends with those guys, the Counting Crows. Yeah, Chris Lazat. Anyway, yeah. So I could be wrong about that, but I think that's right. At any rate, so tell us about. So you started writing. So like I've listened to like was your first album just self-titled?
Yes.
Nicolette Paige came out in 2008. Mm-hmm. I've listened through that album.
Yes.
And it's very folk influenced, which is right.
Yes.
So you really were writing with that kind of influence.
Yes.
At a very young age. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when you first started performing musically?
It was about 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did you perform?
Local county fairs and the church.
So you started in the church?
I did.
County fairs.
Yes.
It's so fascinating how many people, whether it's hip hop or country or, you name it, so many people started in churches.
Yes.
for all the good and the bad of churches, like it's like, well, at least they were a birthing place for music, right?
I was so bored singing in the church. I can't lie. I was so bored.
Because you had to sing
I had to sing like this. And I did not like it. But it is what I was taught to do. And at that time, I had to do what I was told. So I sang like this sometimes.
Wow. And who was your vocal instructor? What were they teaching you a certain style of vocal?
She was a classical teacher, and she did an amazing job, actually, despite the fact that I did not like to sing like this. But she was amazing, and she taught me some really great techniques. She really was able to get my voice to project and just sound super angelic. It was actually very beautiful.
Yeah. How to use your voice, how to use
my diaphragm. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, cool. So what did you do after high school?
I transformed into a butterfly. There's a lot I did.
I listened to one of your songs called Metamorphosis.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what I did with my music after high school. I was about to say, because there's many things.
Blend it all together, right?
There is a song called Metamorphosis, and that one's not on an album yet, but that's one of my most favorite songs ever. And I wrote it when I was in Atlanta, and I can't go into too much detail about that story because it's very personal, but it was an experience that, I unfortunately experienced a lot of the ugly side of the music industry, and
So did you take off to Atlanta pretty young?
No, kind of. I mean, I was like 20, 21 or something. I was only there for a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
But oh my God. Whoa. Yeah, it was kind of a heart-wrenching situation. Yeah. And it's hard for me to talk about these things because the people involved, I don't know how they are now. They may have evolved from who they once were, so I don't like to say names. But that experience, I got taken advantage of a lot. My soul was not in a good place. I just wanted to do my music, and I wanted somebody to believe in me and invest in me. But the price of that, being a young, beautiful woman with a lot of talent, you have to be so careful. So careful.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And so I came back with that song, though, the Metamorphosis song. Because that is what happened to me I was in a stage of metamorphosis for about 10 years.
Yeah. Unpack that for us a little bit. Because it's a great analogy. It's the butterfly, it's this, transformation.
Yeah.
I like to say Spirituality Adventures is a non-judgmental place to explore spirituality. And I say our purpose is to help ignite spiritual growth and transformation.
Yes.
Through blogs, podcasts, events that we do, small groups, that kind of thing. So metamorphosis is transformation. Right?
It is. And we go through so many in life. For me, like I said, growing up, my family experienced a lot of challenges. I did not realize how those challenges affected me psychologically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, until I got older and became more self-aware. But the way I coped with those things, the way I coped with stuff like I had a good friend who died by suicide when I was 18, and he took his life while I was there with him, Coping with stuff like that, coping with having a beautiful baby, my son Elijah, who was born with a birth defect that almost took his life, being a single mom for a long time, all of these things, and still trying to pursue my music career, keep my spirit intact, try to figure out what's happening. I used my music to cope, my spirituality to cope a lot, but then I also did some bad things for my soul. I used drugs to cope. I made some very, very, very poor choices to get by in life.
I've done some of that.
Who has not made some poor choices?
I've done some of that.
Oh, but it taught me so much.
Yeah.
It taught me so much.
I'm still learning. So.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. So let's dive into a little bit of the spirituality that you've gotten into. And like give us a little bit of like a 101 on your spiritual path.
Okay.
Help us understand it a little bit, right?
Okay.
So you go from Presbyterian church
to witchcraft to brujeria and voodoo and Ifa.
Yeah. And then some people are going, oh my God, you're talking to a witch,
Yeah,
right?
That's actually a name that I was given at a young age. People would call me a witch. And I didn't like it for a long time because of the unwanted feelings that I got from others who were saying it to me like it was, you're bad. The many times people blamed their misfortunes on me because they thought I was a witch. Well, thank you for believing in me anyway. But truly, I am a curandera. A curandera is somebody who uses their ability to heal, to help people heal psychologically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. I don't mind people calling me a bruja. Bruja is witch in Espanol.
And the first word you used?
Curandera. That means...
Is that Spanish? Or
sí, yes.
Okay.
That means healer.
Okay.
I don't mind bruja though, which it's still fun to me.
Right. Right.
But so when people ask me, who are you? I am a Pan-African Indigenous woman. And so I'm very in tune with my Indigenous side, my Indigenous Mexica ancestors, my Indigenous African ancestors, my Indigenous Irish ancestors. I'm very in tune with them, and I use the medicine, the Indigenous medicine, like I said, the spiritual and the physical, to help people.
Yeah, so explain to people what Pan-African, because that's a whole thought.
Yeah.
Right?
Pan-African is the belief in the unification and liberation of the Black people, the diaspora.
Yeah. I ran across this thought through my connection with Ethiopia and the Rastafarians, because that's a part of their platform of beliefs.
Yes,
is Pan-African. In fact, when I told you before the interview, I was in Ethiopia back in October, and Bob Marley's son Julian Marley was there. And I went to a concert there with some friends, and and that was one of the themes, was the Pan-African theme that was there. It was so fascinating.
Yeah.
Like just sitting there anyway.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool. So they really believe that all African nations, which are so divided, right, need to unite.
Yes.
And that's a part of the liberation.
Yes, and healing the wounds of the past and remembering the truth, the roots, the truth of the roots.
Yeah. So how is the voodoo? Because that's an indigenous spirituality, right?
Yes.
And how? I'm curious, and this might be too broad of a question.
It's okay.
But I'm kind of curious how, like, say, and did voodoo originate in Haiti, or is it more from Africa?
It evolved in Haiti. Voodoo did, but voodoo comes from Ifa. Ifa comes from Nigeria.
Okay.
Over in Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, from Nigeria, the Africans were taken to places like Haiti, which that evolved into Voodoo. The Americans call it voodoo. Voodoo is more of the westernized version of Vodun, which is actually from Haiti.
Okay.
Yeah. There's many variations. It all evolved.
It's so different, right? And so I think some of our audience would be more in tune with like indigenous Native American spirituality.
Yeah, they usually like to, and the Western culture embraces more of they like to use the Native American term. I like to say Indigenous or Aborigine, because they were not Americans. This was actually Turtle Island before it became America, but it seems to be a safer place for people because unfortunately Vodun and Voodoo, Hoodoo, Ifa got a very negative, the Western culture bastardized it and made it look like it was evil, and it's not.
Yeah, I think some people like in America would be more in tune with the indigenous people here in Turtle Island than they would be with the indigenous religions that came from Nigeria or from Africa and then migrated, to Haiti.
Because they think a lot of the time is scary. They are so scared.
Yeah.
It's more, and that comes from just lack of knowing. And that's why people really have to dive deep on their own into the truth of the roots and be mindful of the different truths that they learn, because there's many different truths out there. There is a truth out there that will tell you that voodoo is evil, but then there's also the truth out there that will tell you that voodoo is indigenous and it's for the liberation and purification of the people, the unification. It comes from a place of love, our morals and values. We are very big on family, on having high morals and values, treating people the way we want to be treated, tuning into Mother Earth and using her herbs for medicine and knowing how to honor that, knowing how to honor all people for who they are, not what they look like. But that's not talked about. It's usually in the movies in Hollywood. Voodoo is scary. We're casting evil spells on people. No, this is not true. Although some people do use that type of mysticism to try to harm others. That's not what we're about.
Right.
We're about tuning into ourselves and walking in the balance of love and helping others to do the same.
Yeah, so what's the indigenous name from Nigeria?
Ifa.
And then how would that be different from Rastafarian, and how would that be different from indigenous religions here from Turtle Island? Right?
Yes. Ifa is very similar to voodoo, but in Ifa we worship the Orishas, which are like gods and goddesses. It's like we believe. I'm initiated into Ifa, so a lot of people think I'm initiated into voodoo. I practiced voodoo for a long time, and then I dove deep into where does voodoo come from, and that's where Ifa comes in. So we believe. Now I'm initiated into Ifa, but I still have my own spirituality. I just want to put that out there. In Ifa, they believe in Olodumare, which is like the one God, right? And then God has all of these helpers who are the Orisha, like Yemoja, who is the mother that rules the oceans. She's so powerful. She has that motherly, caring energy. And then we have like Oshun, who is a Orisha, who is full of sensuality, and she helps to bring money and luck and beauty to people. There's many Orishas. How that differs from Rastafari, they believe in the Bible. In Ifa, we don't follow the Bible. We follow the Odun system. The Odun system is a very the most advanced divination system that I've ever seen in my entire life. We use these cowrie shells, this thing called the opele, to cast and find out things about like your life path, your destiny, your ancestors. In Rastafari, like I said, they follow the Bible. Their truth of the Bible, which I love because Bob Marley would say that, there's so many people that misinterpret the Bible that say you have to die to go to heaven. But that's not true. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says heaven is here. Right here. Heaven is here. It's a state of mind. You find it while you're alive, because life is the best gift that we can ever have. And that's one thing I love about Rastafari. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. You find heaven here.
It's interesting. Like Jesus even said, pray your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I always said, pray heaven on earth, or then like in your connections, it's right here. Like the kingdom's in you, right?
Yeah.
Or heaven's in you,
yeah.
that kind of an idea. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So in Ifa, the other thing too that I really love, we say ashe. A lot. Ashe is several things. Ashe.
Blessing.
It's kind of, ashe is like, it actually means, as it is spoken, so shall it be.
Okay.
But then it also represents the energy, the life force energy within us. Everybody has ashe. And the stronger your ashe is, the better your life will be. Well, how you make your ashe strong is by having integrity, by walking in the balance of love, by doing right by your brothers and sisters.
Is ashe what kind of word is that? A Nigerian?
Yoruba.
That's the language it's from? Okay. There, in Hebrew, the word for blessing is asher, which when you said that, that's what clicked in my brain. That's the word for blessing in Hebrew is asher. Like when Jesus said the Beatitudes, blessed are those, the Hebrew word for blessing in that context would have been asher. Anyway, it's just isn't kind of interesting.
Yes, the connections.
Some words, so like in Ethiopia, the national language is Amharic, which is a Semitic language, which is the same family of languages that Hebrew and Arabic are in.
Interesting.
Now there's 80 tribal languages in Ethiopia, right?
Do you know about Ge'ez?
I don't know the tribal languages.
Okay.
I've gone over there and spoke where I get translated from English to Amharic to a tribal language, but I know Amharic a little bit, but not much.
I'm working on a song right now that is in Ge'ez, which comes from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm familiar with that term, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you been to Ethiopia?
Not yet.
Oh, man.
I know.
When I was there, there's a very cool, so one of the founders of Ethio Jazz is still alive.
Oh, wonderful.
And he's been super influential, and there's a whole young crowd of Ethiopians now that are doing like sort of young Ethio Jazz, and they're blending the traditional tribal music with this Ethio Jazz. I've got some videos on my phone because I go to these like these little African huts, and then it's this whole cool, it almost feels like Greenwich Village in Ethiopia, like playing Ethio. Anyway, so much. I was doing so much music while I was over there.
Oh, that's beautiful. What a gift. What a gift.
Yeah. So very cool. Well, so one of the things that you mentioned and that I found fascinating about your story was, so like I've been in a mindful meditation group for over a year, and there's a ton of science behind how important meditation, and one of the keys to meditation is self-awareness. Yes. And you talk about that a little bit, because you're really big on that idea of self-awareness. And one of your statements on your soul awakenings is the magic is, how do you say it? The magic is the most
powerful magic one can tap into is their own. Yes.
And that has to connect to self-awareness some way, right? Talk about that a bit.
So I just opened up a school. It's called the Soul Child Awakening School of Spiritual Science. The first class is all about self-awareness, because we have to be self-aware in order to understand just how truly powerful we are. But there's levels to it. You see, there's this thing called enlightenment that people talk about. And I guess there could be different versions of enlightenment or understandings of enlightenment, because there's understanding that when you reach enlightenment, it's kind of like this, and it's almost like you maybe not know it all, but come to a place of contentment, of knowing that we don't really know much. That's really cool, actually. But I see it as enlightenment is the many walks of self-awareness, knowing who you are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and understanding the evolution of oneself, understanding how we have come to be who we are today, understanding that there are things that we can benefit from if we just let them go. And when I say that, I mean like conditionings that a lot of people have experienced over time, conditionings that have been passed down through family members, for example, that we learn in our home. There are a lot of things that in today's world, we are so divided because of those conditionings and our lack of awareness of them. And so we have to become aware, self-aware of what are those things. Mm-hmm. You know, what do we let go so we can make room for something better to come, so that we can evolve, you know?
Yeah, and trauma can shut us down,
yes.
shut us off from ourselves, so that's one of the things I've really learned from meditation is how to revisit those places in me,
yes.
that are hurt or wounded or
yes.
or have been shaped by trauma,
yes.
wounding, those kind of things, and then to find let those things speak to me, but then take them into, see them transform, take them into new places, and let that become let that become a part of my transformation, my evolving,
yes.
In my spiritual journey, kind of a thing.
That's beautiful.
That's been a part of what I've had to go through. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's been dark at times.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny because I do know what you mean when you say the word dark, but that's also words is a part of my teaching of self-awareness and understanding the vibrations behind our words, the meanings behind our words. The transformation I've been through, I would not consider it to be dark, even though I had to go into a dark space. But the dark space was actually very beautiful. The darkness is where we come from, The darkness is where we find ourselves. I
actually understand what you're saying, though. I came across some books that really challenged me to go there.
Yeah. And
to find and if I put in my language previously, that God meets us in those places.
Yes.
However you want to put language around that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I encourage people to explore more words. So when somebody tells me I want the darkness off of me, well, what do you mean darkness? Because not all that is dark is bad and not all that is light is good. Truthfully, too much darkness can blind you, too much light can blind you too. So what is it that you want off of you? Is it feelings of sorrow? Is it sadness? Because it's important to be able to identify exactly what that is, self-awareness. And then we have to also understand how those words have been used, in Western culture, to shapeshift the way we see things. See, what's happened over time is that we associate dark with bad and light with good. And then what happens to our Black brothers and sisters, our brown brothers and sisters? They're suddenly seen as not so good. So we have to be very mindful, But then, like I said, I do understand what you mean when you say it was dark. But I encourage you, to find words that are other than a shade.
Yeah.
To explain. It helps you to understand more yourself. What is it? What was that? I like to say challenging. That's about as good as I've gotten so far. It was challenging. Those transformations was painful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I love teaching self-awareness. I love, through self-awareness, teaching people how to heal their traumas, how to go back in time to like their child self and invoke that spirit and heal themselves. I also love teaching people about their energy and how it can be as big as you want it to be or as small as you want it to be. How you can harness it in a certain way and then direct it. That's part of the spell work I do. I know how to harness energy and direct it to do what I want it to do. You know?
So, like in Reiki, you know, you have the chakras, the energy centers, and is the way you talk about energy, is it similar to that or is it different?
Somewhat. There are different energy points in our body, yes. What I do talk about the chakras, you know, and how we can utilize those to live our life in the best way that we can in many aspects. But I like to go further because we're so infinite. You know, we're constantly living in the spirit realm and in the physical realm, and people don't even recognize it, you know, and I like to break down what that means. I love to break down, like I said, how you can actually expand your energy, how you can be aware of when you're doing that. For example, I'm sure you've experienced it where there are times you think of somebody and then all of a sudden they reach out to you and you're like, oh, that's crazy. I was just thinking about you, right? Well, spiritually, while you were thinking about them, whether you were aware of it or not, you actually have just spiritually touched them. And they were receptive to it in some way, but you expanded your energy all the way over there. You know what I'm saying?
I would have called that like some kind of a divine, you know, connection, or, you know, like I would have thought those things happen, maybe use different language around it, right? But I think it's a deal, right?
Yeah.
And it's a thing.
Yeah.
Gosh, we could talk forever about this stuff.
Yes.
Let's do two things here because our time is going. I want to talk about your music some. Okay. And then I've bought just a couple of products from you.
Yes.
So I want you to let people know where your websites are. Okay. Where your music's at, and then I actually want to kind of close talking about some of your music, and then have you do some songs for us. Okay. Right? So if we can kind of go those two directions real quick. I purchased a couple of items from you. What did I purchase?
Well, let me open my medicine bag.
Yes.
Just so you know, this medicine bag comes from Mexico. Do you remember what Mexico is?
Mexico.
Yes, good job. This is the Mexica calendar that people often know of as the Aztec calendar. Yeah. Yes. This is so wonderful.
Did you buy that there? You got that? Or
Maybe it was a gift from a very special person.
It looks like it's had some history to it, right?
It does have lots of history. Okay, so this is pure medicine. This is my Belicious KC Well honey. This is raw local honey that is infused with organic echinacea, elderberry, and lemon. That's really good for boosting your immune system. It's very, very high in antioxidants. It's one of my favorite ones.
Also helps with like allergies.
Oh, yes.
They say that local honeys, right?
Yeah, it definitely, if you eat it regularly, will cure your seasonal allergies. I used to have seasonal allergies, and that's what got me into honey. Is somebody told me about local honey. I started taking it regularly, and voila, I have no more allergies.
Do you actually have beehives and stuff that you?
Yes.
Serious?
Yes.
Where are they at? Like you don't have to say
very secret. No, I'm kidding.
Exact location.
It's secret. No, I'm kidding. It's at the Kansas City Urban Farm Co-op.
Oh yeah.
The largest Black-owned orchard in the Midwest.
Yay.
Yes, right behind the Swope Dog Park.
I've heard of this. I've not been there though. Can you can actually go and visit, can't you?
Yeah, we have lots and lots of fruit trees. And we're expanding this year.
Very sweet.
Yeah, my boyfriend owns it, Darian Davis.
This. I need to get down there, yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Very cool. All right. Excellent. What else did I get?
Okay, so
all right.
This is for
I got some honey.
Very special.
Yes.
It has my magic in it.
Can I touch it now?
Oh, you can.
All right.
What else did you get? Let's see. What's in the bag?
Belicious KC.
Yeah.
Raw and local. God, I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, people can order many different honey infusions. We have many different kinds. BeliciousKC.com.
I was really wanting the candles too, but you're out of candles. You're making some
fresh out of candles.
Okay.
I know those are good candles too. This is my home blessing oil.
Okay.
And so you can take this. When I do home blessings for people, I'll take this and I'll rub their doors. I'll take it and like in a counterclockwise motion. I'm very particular with what I do. Don't worry, you don't have to remember all of this, okay?
Yeah, I've done home blessings like with olive oil, like anointing,
that
kind
yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
It's kind of like that. I have my own way of doing it, but you use it for a home blessing thing. You put on your doors, you can anoint candles with it.
Yep.
So this is for you.
All right.
And then you got the spiritual floor wash, which removes any unwanted spiritual debris in your home. You can use it as a floor wash, or you can use it actually as an all-purpose cleaner. I have it in my little hand thingies to wash my hands. What are those things called? What are those things called?
You mean like hand wipes you talk?
No, the little...
Oh, yeah.
What is that thing called that you put soap in? A hand washing dispenser.
Right.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I've got some of those around. So.
Yeah, I like to wash my hands, but you dilute it with water. It'll tell you on the back.
Okay.
Yeah, and it smells so good.
All right.
Yeah, it's made. All of these things are made with love.
This is better than the coronavirus washes that are out there.
Oh, yes, because it doesn't only disinfect physically, but it cleanses spiritually.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
It comes from a place of love.
Get the bad energies out.
The unwanted energies.
The unwanted.
Yeah, the unwanted energies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to use the word bad and good. I feel like it's a little bit too broad. So I say unwanted.
Sure.
Yeah. But the most important thing to remember is that these things are all made with love. A very special love.
From you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what fuels my fire.
Yeah. When I went through my unraveling.
Ooh, good word.
I felt so much shame.
Oh,
and I really hated myself.
Ooh,
and I felt humiliated, right? And and I literally felt like I was drowning in that shame. And what I found was that I started hanging out with people that heard what I went through, what I did, but loved me anyway.
Yes.
They loved me anyway.
You're human.
Right?
Yeah.
They just kept loving me.
Yeah. Wow.
And then seeing that love, sometimes when we don't feel it or believe it ourselves, when other people keep loving us through those times, we all of a sudden we open up to it again. We begin to forgive ourselves, love ourselves. We begin to, maybe the universe does love me. Maybe God loves me,
Yeah.
But I think it's so valuable that when people are in some of their difficult times, that there's some people around them that just keep loving them through it. So this is a cool way to love people through all kinds of situations.
I love all people. That's one of the gifts I was given, is my ability to love unconditionally and deeply. I have a huge love for humanity.
That's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I love that.
Me too.
Comes through in your music too, I think.
Yes, it
right?
does.
So let's talk about music.
Yeah, it'll come through the album I'm working on now even more. It's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be a reggae album.
Yeah, so you start, that's what I know, like in 2008, you came out with a self-titled album, Nicolette, Paige. It was a folk style album, beautiful.
Thank you.
2012, your album, The Other Side, you were moving from folk into a little bit more reggae, right?
Yes.
And so that had a reggae feel. Some of the stuff that you've come out with just recently, like with Smart Alec, is rap, hip hop type stuff.
Yes.
So you have all these different types of music.
Yes.
You can go from folk to rap. Like you can.
Yes,
flow.
I can.
You
Actually,
can
I can. Come on now. Yes, I can flow. Yeah,
fun.
It is fun. It's all the different parts of me, and that's one thing I love about it is I'm super eclectic. You cannot put me in a box.
Mm-hmm.
I will pop out of the box.
Yeah, so how do people find your music? How do people find what you're doing with...
Soul Child Awakenings. SoulChildAwakenings.com is where they will find everything there. If you just Google Nicolette Paige, 1 L 2 T's, Paige with an I, then you'll find my music on iTunes, Google Play. Well, I guess they don't have Google Play no more, but YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of that. It's very easy to find me.
Okay. And what's the long name that you have?
Oh, yes. You seen this, didn't you?
Yes.
That is my spiritual name that was given to me in Ifa.
Larada.
I'll say it for you, and then you say it next, okay?
Because I'll mess it up.
Larada Didan Imoleina Aye Balewa. That means she whose healing shines light on the world.
Okay.
I was given that name when I became initiated into Ifa. Yeah.
And what language is that?
Yoruba.
Okay.
And I definitely need to shout out my Babalawo, Baba Shango. Hey, what's up? Mojuba, Ifa Orisha, Mojuba Ile Shango Ina.
Be sure and share this with him.
Yeah, Modube.
Him or her?
Him.
Okay.
Him, yeah.
Very cool. So, your music, your website, how about any live stuff that you're doing? And I know like you and Dom Chronicles have been doing some
guided meditations.
Yeah, and you call that Grand
Rising.
Grand Rising.
Yes.
Okay.
Many thanks to Dom Chron for starting that. He's such a beautiful
Dom
soul.
Here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
That caught my attention was the meditation stuff that you guys were doing.
Yeah. And then I have been performing this. I perform with this guy. He's so ugly and stupid, but I guess everybody loves him. They call him Pretty Ricky. I don't know. He's so stupid. No, I'm kidding. He's over there.
There he is.
He is my favorite guitarist in Kansas City.
He's going to come join us here in just a second.
Pretty Ricky is amazing. He's an OG in Kansas City, and we've been doing some really amazing live shows, and I've been performing a little bit with his band, New Common Ground, who are some amazing reggae musicians here in Kansas City.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, we have some shows coming up. That'll be announced later.
Okay, how will we stay in touch with that?
You have to figure it out yourself. No, I'm kidding.
Your Instagram is
Nicolette Paige, yeah. Music, yeah. I announced.
So you'll probably post it there.
Yeah, social media, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah, so let's have you do a few songs for us
okay.
as we close this podcast.
Yes.
This is great. And let's introduce your friend here.
Yeah, the OG in Kansas City. Well, come on now, Pretty Ricky.
All right.
Come on now, Pretty Ricky.
All right. This is the man.
This is the man, boy. He's been playing in Kansas City. Anybody. It's truly an honor to play with Pretty Ricky because he is one of the most professional guitarists and talented guitarists, and he's just amazing as a person. Ain't that right, Pretty Ricky?
You say it.
We've been performing together since I was a teenager.
Very cool.
And I'm still somebody that he performs with despite the things I put him through.
Awesome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nicolette Paige. I'm a singer-songwriter from a whole nother world. And this is my amazing guitarist, Pretty Ricky Cole. And this first song is an original song called Vanishing Cars. It's about one of my first psychedelic experiences. It's on my second album. My second album is called The Other Side, which you can find available on all digital platforms. Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs. Here we go. world was spinning as I was beginning to see. I looked up at the sky and fell right into the sea. Yeah, yeah, ooh, yeah. The trees were swaying like corals out of the sand. I was fishing for a good time while running on an endless land. Yeah, yeah. Oh, on Roswell Street, you find me sitting in my car, living in a daydream, staring up at the stars. Yeah, yeah. The road was twisting and turning before my eyes, while I was walking down a street that led me to paradise. Oh, I found myself singing out to the moon. Yeah, 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 yeah. La-di-da-di-da-da. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I finally found a place where I can just be free. No troubles in the world, 'cause there's nobody here but me. Me, yeah, me. Come on, pretty Ricky. They're so pretty. Hey. This is good. Thank you.
Love it.
All right. Well, thank you, Nicolette, for your music. I love your music. Thanks for joining us at Spirituality Adventures. And by the way, for those of you who are a part of our bonus content, we encourage you to do that. Sign up for our bonus content by being a monthly supporter. We have some of her music as well on the bonus content. So thanks for tuning in to Spirituality Adventures, and we'll see you next time. This concludes today's episode. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember to like, share, or subscribe to the social media platform that you're using. And then Go to our website, spiritualityadventures.com, and make a one-time donation, or you can subscribe monthly and receive our special bonus content. Thanks so much.